Hi, I'm Jerry Mikulski, and this is the first post in my new podcast called Rethink the Future, which lives inside of my Rethink Your Constraints Substack. Now, Rethink Your Constraints is my thesis these days. I think that a lot of us would like to do things that are kind of impossible to us because we're bound and limited in some way. There's a lot of things happening in the world that are actually the breaking of constraints. But I'd like this podcast to be a little positive. I'd like to find that middle ground between all these conflicting parties, step outside the political discourse, and think about how do we rethink the future in positive ways? How do we build and share stuff that makes our children's lives better? We're at a really strange and dangerous moment in history. It's also a very plastic moment. Big things are melting and changing and breaking, and there are opportunities to show up with better solutions. It looks like governments around the world, including mine in the USA, are sliding toward autocracy and other things that shouldn't appeal to the general public, but in fact they have. I think the reason they do is that people believe that their current systems are borked and that nobody has proposed better solutions. Now, I don't mean that nobody's proposing solutions, not at all. I collect them, you'll see. But what I mean is that none of the new solutions really have crystallized and turned into something that people want to live inside of or on top of, or whatever metaphors you want to use for things like governance systems and social support systems of some sort, economies, markets, all of that. My format is going to be very mixed. I want to play with all media. Sometimes it'll be like this, me just talking at you. Sometimes it'll be me and one person in a one-on-one interview. I will probably invite a couple panels together where there's 2 or 3 experts on something that we'd like to dig into, and maybe a couple, 3 or 4 other friends who can ask questions and make the whole thing richer. I may be playing Peter Zeihan out in the wild, holding a selfie stick and walking around, sort of thinking out loud. I may do brain casts. I'll do that in just a moment, but I have this brain software that is one of my superpowers, so I'll bring that in as appropriate. There may be some animations in the future, and who knows, because Gen AI can create lots of different things. I will also make all the content very linky and very, very open. The formats could be a 1-minute YouTube short all the way to 2-hour podcast. I don't know. And I'm not going to publish on a set schedule, meaning there won't be drops every Tuesday or anything like that. And as you'll notice from this debut post, I'm looking for content over production value. I will not do a lot of fancy cuts or special effects. Oh, I don't know. I may play with them later on down the road, but I'm really interested right now in the content, in the stuff that matters, and actually the process of making that content better together. There's a whole bunch of topics that I want to cover, from promising solutions to world crises to what it means to be a good cyborg. But let me just show you the list I'm collecting in my brain, because I'll put a link to this brain context in the notes to this post. As you'll see, I've got a thought in my brain called RTF Scope. RTF is Rethink the Future, which is this podcast. I'm starting in 2025. So the scope is going to include things like collaborative sense making and all of its sort of synonyms like collective intelligence and planetary intelligence, collective action, social dynamics, etc. There are lots of different ways of thinking about collaborative sense making. This will also be about leveling up our media. We are stuck in mainstream media metaphors. We are not thinking about the internet yet in a new way. We have movies and radio. We have books and magazines. We've got phone calls that have video on them. That's great. But we really haven't broken through. And there's a lot of reasons for this. And I want to explore them and experiment with ways of actually making our media richer, better, more useful for humans. I want to bring in ideas that I came up with over the years, like design from trust and notions that have spilled out of that. What if we'd redesigned our systems from a basis of trusting the average person? That leads to a whole series of new insights. I've been posting about that a bit in my Substack. We would like to hear the promising solutions to world crises that I've been collecting over the years. By the way, just because these are books on Amazon, just because I put a book in my brain doesn't mean I've read the contents and digested everything, but it does mean it's relevant to this particular topic. And then some funny things like a religion called Fubarism that I'm starting and a practice called Aikido. I will talk about all these sorts of things because they're actually positive ways of looking ahead. This is a Substack. So your likes and subscribes are super, super helpful. Refer me to other people. Put me in front of your friends if you like what we're talking about here. And then, of course, you're becoming a paid subscriber is extra helpful. If you do so, if you start paying for the Substack, I'll invite you into a private monthly call where we scheme world domination. And then I'll also send out invites for the occasional Substack chat, but also Zoom calls so that you can participate in the conversation that will show up in the podcast. My overarching goal here is to capture some of the fun and magic of collaborating with others to make things better, while leaving a trail of resources that anyone can use and improve. I want to work with the garage door open as much as is humanly possible. So very little of this material is paywalled. Pretty much everything I write is going to be open. When you pay, you get to participate in a few private things, but they wind up on the open feed as well. I'm open to all suggestions, content suggestions, formats, questions to pursue, anything. Let me know what's working for you, and I look forward to seeing you all over the place as we figure this stuff out.